Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Fun work with the cameras. This is fun to be able to pull all this stuff off. If you people know me, whenever I go to open mics, back in Chicago, I recorded the entire open mic to be podcasts and YouTube feeds, and here I'm not able to do that because I don't have a thing that would record long enough for it, but I've got multiple cameras I'm trying to go all the time, and now I'm trying to do a video feed as well as a live Facebook stream, which I'm afraid, because of the kind of camera I have, it's in reverse mode, so you can't see that it's Teope is actually Poet, and this actually says Legends are Born in June, which I have to wear because it's June 7th for the June 7th, 2020 Poetic License Open Mic. This might be my last reading if I'm supposed to be done by 5:30. We'll see if I do more than one reading. I was about to read short poems in my last reading after Genesis poems, but I said, no, I'm going to save those for this reading for you guys. I hope all is being poetically safe and all is being well, because another regular poet open mic host here, Tom, T-H-O-N, another Austin transplant like myself, he is from Australia. He would come with a bunch of different reading glasses to his open mics, and I would go, oh, what do you think? Should I have this one on? Do you like this? And so I brought all of these glasses, and that's kind of like the reason why I've been putting glasses on for these open mics in homage to Tom, because he's not here right now. I figured this is the least frame oriented one, so how does this one look for you guys as I then go to read a couple of short poems and then insert poems from the cc&d book Among the Debris. It's a massive collection from July to December of 2019 of last year. One person said that this was the best collection they ever bought, which was a real honor to hear. So I hope people are enjoying poems from different sections of this mammoth volume, which you can get at Amazon if you're interested. I will start with a couple short poems which appear after short stories, as you can see in this book, and if there is something that actually came out with an Instagram image, I would try to include that as well. Not enough space for a big piece of artwork, so I'll put a tiny little piece in here. So I've got a couple poems like that I will share with you. This first one is called Ends of the Earth. I would go to the ends of the earth to have you with me once again. My baby, my love, you are my life. As I said, these are short poems that I'm sharing with you from the cc&d collection book, Among the Debris. Among the Debris. I hope you enjoy it. You can always learn more about this entire book from a lot of people's writings from Amazon. This next poem is another short one that has an Instagram image, as you can see in the display, and it is called Listen to Life. Life teaches you lessons if you learn to listen. Life can destroy you if you're not paying notice. Learn what to listen for, and never forget that life can thrill you if you just listen right. Short little ones, and this one's a little bit longer, but still too short for a poem. Little block on the text at the bottom of this piece of prose called Queuing in Line and Shaping Your Life. Without a college education, men created companies that changed the modern world. Women have made Nobel Prize-winning scientific discoveries and inventions without even a college education, back when they weren't even allowed to learn. Of course, going to school can really help you get your foot in the door, but some, in lieu of queuing in line and waiting for their chance to make a difference, they look for a way to subvert the system and get ahead on their own terms. So remember, when you see those who seem like misfits as you're growing up, or maybe even when you're an adult, don't you dare discount them as nothing. Behind closed doors, they may be the ones deciding world events and shaping your life. What? A moral issue in a short poem? You've got to be kidding me. This one is a poetry reel supplement that I would like to share a bunch of poems from you. They are all different themed, so that's just the way it rolls. So I hope you enjoy them. This first one is called Amber Beads. As the flames engulfed my worldly possessions, my everything seemed to disappear. But I did not cry for the loss of the money. I cried for the photographs and the poems and the amber beads. I love you, Mother, and I love the mother who died while I rested in your womb. My sister tells me stories about visiting Grandma and eating pickles, and I remember every spring, every Mother's Day, you would diligently plant flowers around the Bakuta's name. I have learned to love her without ever seeing her face. Joseph tells me that I seem like my mother, and I only pray to God that he's right. For then my existence would keep the love and the caring alive in a kind of living that no strike of a match, that no burning building, that no mere mortal could destroy. Aww. Sorry. I read that and I think, aww. And right after that is a piece of prose that is called Driving by His House. I know it's pretty pathetic of me. I don't know what I'm trying to prove. I don't even want to see him again. I don't want to have to think about him. I don't want to think about his big eyebrows or the fact that he hunches over a little when he walks or that he hurt me so much. I know it's pretty pathetic of me, but sometimes when I'm driving, I'll take a little detour and drive by his house. I'll just drive by. I won't slow down. I won't stop by. I won't say hello. I won't beat his head in. I won't even cry. I'll just drive by, see a few cars in the driveway, see no signs of life through the windows, and then I'll just keep driving. I don't know why I do it. He never sees me and I never see him, although I thought I didn't want to see him anyway. When I first met him, I wasn't afraid of him. Now I'm so afraid that I have to drive by his house every once in a while just to remind myself of the fear. We all like the taste of fear, you know, the thought that there's something out there stronger than us, the thought that there's something out there that we can beat, even if we have to fight to the death. But that can't be it. No, it just can't be. I don't like this fear. I don't like it. I don't want to drive by. I want to be able to just go on with my life, to not think about it. I just want to be strong again. I want to be strong. So today I did it again. I haven't done it in a while, drive by his house, but I did it again today. When I turned onto his street, I put on my sunglasses so that in case he saw me, he couldn't tell if I was looking. And then I picked up my car phone and acted like I was talking to someone. And I drove by, holding my car phone, talking to my imaginary friend, trying to unobviously glance over at the house on my left. There's a lampshade at the end of his driveway. I've always noticed it. The lampshade was a huge glass ball. I always thought it was ugly. This time, 3 cars were there. One of those could have been his. Through the front window, no people, no lights. I'd drive around the corner, take a turn, and get back onto the street that I was supposed to be on. One day, when I'm driving by and I get that feeling again, that feeling like death, well, then I just might do it again. Hello to new viewers. I have to give props to my live feed. This one from a poetry reel insert within the book, cc&d book, Among the Debris, is a poem called Andrew Hettinger. I never really liked you. You never revealed yourself to me, and why would you? You who never had anyone. You who always had the bad breaks. Everyone always looked at you as different. Where would you have learned to trust? Who would you have learned it from? I never really liked you. I met you through a friend, and he explained to me that you had multiple sclerosis that left you with a faint limp and a slight lisp. Faint under the surface, but there, traces of something no one would ever know of you well enough to fully understand. I never really liked you. You never revealed yourself to me, and I never wanted you to. You scared me too much. You, plagued with physical ailments. You with a limp in your walk. You with a patch over your eye. You who stared at me for always just a bit too long. They told me the patch was from eye surgery with complications, and now you had to cover your shame, cover someone else's mistakes, cover a wrong you didn't commit, cover a problem that was not of your own doing. The problems were never of your own doing, were they? I heard these stories and thought that it was sad. I heard these stories and thought that you had to be a pillar of strength. And then I saw you drink straight from the bottle 15-year-old Chianti, and I saw you smash your hand through your living room wall. This was how you lived. The house you lived in was littered with trash. And why bother to clean it up anyway? It detracted you from the holes in the wall, the broken furniture, the drunken fits. This was how you reacted to life, to the world. You didn't know any better. This was how you coped. I never really liked you. You would come home from work and tell us about a woman that was beautiful and smart, that liked you, but she wasn't quite smart enough. And I thought, we believe anything if we tell ourselves enough. We weave these fantasies to get through the days. I never really liked you. Every time you talked to me, you always leaned just a little too close. So I stayed away from the house and noted that others whom you called friends did the same. I asked my friend why he bothered to stay in touch, and he said to me, "But he has no friends." This is how I thought of you, a man who was dealt a bad hand, a man who couldn't fight the demons that were handed to him. And with that I put you out of my mind, relegated you to the ranks of the inconsequential. We parted ways. You were reduced to a sliver of my past. I received a letter recently, a letter from someone who knew you, someone who wanted me to tell my friend that they read in the paper that you hanged yourself. Your brother died in an electrical accident, and after the funeral you went to the train station, and instead of leaving this town, you went to a small room off to the side, and you left us forever. Strangers had to find you. The police had to search through records to identify your body. The newspaper described you as having health problems, but you knew it was much more than that. And I was asked to be the messenger to my friend. The funeral had already passed. You were already in the ground. There was no way he could say goodbye. I shouldn't have been the one to tell him this. No one deserved to tell him. He was the only one who tried to care. I never really liked you. No one did. But when I had to tell my friend, I knew his pain. I knew he wanted to be better. I knew he thought you were too young to die. I knew he felt guilty for not calling you. He knew it shouldn't have been this way. We all knew it. I never really liked you, but now I can't get you out of my mind. You haunt me for all the people that we've forgotten in our lives. I don't like what you've done. I don't like you quitting. I don't like you dying, not giving us the chance to love you or hate you or ignore you more. My friend still doesn't know where your grave is. I'd like to find it for him and take him to you. Let him know that you did have a friend out there. Bring you a drink, maybe, a fitting nightcap to mark your departure, to commemorate a life filled with liquor, violence, pain, and death. I never really liked you. But maybe we could get together in some old cemetery, sit on your gravestone, share a drink with the dead, laugh at the injustices of life when we're surrounded by death. Maybe then we'd understand your pain for one brief moment and remember the moments that we'll always regret. Strange long story. Hello, and hello to new people that came in the middle of that poem. Somebody actually saw this poem and they said they were a high school friend of his, and when I was back in the area they said if you wanted to come down, I'll meet you and we'll go to the grave site. I went and had Taco John's beforehand, and then we went and I brought a can of beer, which was really odd in the middle of the day, to open it up and pour some beer with him and read the poem for him there too. So weird stories for that. But it was never with my friend whom I was not able to bring to the gravesite for, which breaks my heart. But I can't do it now, I'm too far away. But anyway, but I'll have something that is about him, and it's a poem that's called Death. It's not as heavy as that last poem, trust me. This is called Death. When he was a child, a little boy, he would walk through the living room. Over and over again, he would see the book on the shelf, a science book, a volume from a set, a book about how the world worked. Once he looked through the pages, found a drawing about the life of planet Earth, how it was formed, how eventually the temperature would rise, all life on Earth would eventually die. And reading that it was millions of years away didn't help with the fear, the instant panic. So he took the book, hid the one volume from the rest, so he wouldn't have to see it when he walked through his own living room. Crazy. I mean, fascinating to hear how children really react to the concept of death. The death of planet Earth would freak somebody out, but they have to hide the book. What? Well, here's a fun one to break it up for you. I've got maybe 3 more and I will close it out. I'm trying to look at a clock. I'm thinking that it's approaching 5:30. I don't have a clock to be able to do this. But I will start with this one. And it is called Anything for the Liquor Fix. Uh-oh, here we go. We've known people like to have a bottle of wine with friends or in the evenings, and we know of people who like to go out for beers almost every night of the week. We've even known men in Illinois, where it's illegal to have open containers of alcohol in the car with them, who would leave a case of cheap beer in the passenger side floor so they could have a can of Milwaukee's Best while driving, then toss the crumbled can on the floor so they could throw it away when they got out around to it. And we've known these people who want to save money on their wine or on their beer or in their hard liquors, so they would buy the cheapest liquor they could. We even had heard of a fad in Finland where teen girls soak their tampons in vodka because the alcohol is absorbed into their system for intoxication without them drinking. And can you imagine teenage girls in Finland getting drunk while in school this way? Well, the most dramatic news story came to us when we read of a young Canadian man wanting to get drunk with no money. He decided to mix gasoline with milk. This combination made him feel sick, where he then vomited. However, it appears that the milk and gas drink must have intoxicated him enough to not let him realize that he shouldn't have vomited into the fireplace in his house. The resulting explosion from his vomit in the fireplace then burned his house down, killing both him and his sister. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I've heard strange stories, but then I don't think, oh, I'll vomit my gasoline and milk into the fireplace. Oh my gosh, sorry. I shouldn't react that much. I'm going to give you 2 more poems. This one is called A Chess Game Again. We all watched the case on the news together, the case of one man on a subway train. He opened fire on passengers in a car. 9 people dead, I think. They caught the man, and they had the trial, and by right, he could have a lawyer appointed to him. But no, he wanted to act as his own attorney. So every day, he would come into the courtroom in a suit looking professional, and he would question each of the witnesses, the people that survived the shooting spree. Then now they had to look him in the eye and answer his questions. "So, what happened then?" he would ask, and a woman would answer, "I saw you push a woman to the ground, put your knee at the back of her neck, and shoot her in the back of the head." "Can you point out the man that did this?" he would ask, and the man would respond, "It was you." Some of the witnesses broke down under the emotional strain, and finally he had no further questions, and the judge dismissed the jury to arrive at a verdict. They found him guilty, and when the judge asked the defendants if he had any last words for the jury, he kept stressing his innocence and never apologized. The judge told him he was disgusted. He saw no remorse in this killer's eyes, and for all the violence we see in the media, all the court trials that are fed to us through our television sets, our boxes of American dreams, I don't think any of us were prepared for this. How do these people feel when faced with a man that has brought them so much pain? How did they feel when they had to quietly sit there and answer his questions when he didn't even say he was sorry? Most of them just sat there trying to keep their composure when faced with a man who lost all control. This twisted tale. They were pawns in his chess game again. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I don't know the time, but I am going to give one more poem, and it's a fitting one for the cc&d collection book Among the Debris. It's a collection, expanded collection book of issues from the latter half of 2019. cc&d is a much easier way to say the full name of the magazine, which is called Children, Churches, and Daddies. That happens to be the last poem I'm going to share with you today. So you will know what was the inspiration for the name of the magazine. This is the last poem I'm going to read in this poetry set for you, and it's called Children, Churches, and Daddies. And the little girl said to me, "I thought only daddies drank beer." And I found myself trying to make excuses for the can in my hand. I remember being in the church, a guest at a wedding of two people I didn't know. My date pointed out two little boys walking to their seats in front of us, in little suits and cowboy boots. This is what is Central Illinois. And my date said he was sure that those boys would grow up to be gay. And the worst part is that their father was the coach of the high school football team. I think I laughed, but I hesitated. I remember sitting in the church. It was Christmas Eve. My date's family went up for communion, and all I could think was that singing the hymns was hard enough. I don't know the words. What am I doing here? What am I supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to do? And I stayed seated, and everyone else slowly walked to the front of the church. Little soldiers in a little line, the little children in their little dresses walking behind their mummies and daddies. And the little girl said to me, "I thought only daddies drank beer." And I found myself trying to make excuses. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I don't know the time, if I've got time for another reading or not, but I want to thank everyone who has listened so far for this bonus home edition of the Poetic License Open Mic, which is normally at the Recycled Reads Public Library bookstore, but because the public libraries are down, they are still closed because of the coronavirus COVID-19 times. Ergo, my Facebook events page for this. I hope everybody's posting things up. All of my live video feeds of my readings during this time will go up onto that page. I hope everyone is staying very safe as well as poetically and creatively inclined. Know that you're loved, and hopefully you are sharing things with us online as well. And be good and be well. And thank you.